use what we've learned in those so-called failures
Right.
to push us forward. They're part of the journey.
Yeah.
You can't have growth without failure. And if you're not failing, you're not growing.
Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. Hello, everybody. This is an excerpt from an interview I did with Savannah Gresham over at Mill Creek Marketing. Enjoy.
I've got a question in here. This is a good one. How many no's did you hear through all this? Probably innumerable. And how did you push through?
Oh, goodness. That's a great question. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
No's. So I had this philosophy when I first started out that, I had this philosophy when I first started out that when I would go to somebody's house and we would talk about all the amazing things that they want for their space, I would be writing a list. I'd be like, oh my God, this is the one. It's a corner lot. They want everything that this is all the stuff I've wanted to build. I can't wait. I'm writing the whole list out. So then we talk about design. And in the very beginning, I didn't charge for design. So it was like a free for all, whatever I wanted to do. Eventually, I was the first in our area here in Eastern Pennsylvania to charge design, which changed everything. That's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, back then it's free designs. And I'm like doing this design, like, this is amazing. How can the customer not absolutely love this thing, right? So I'd go in and I'd show them the plan. They'd all be like, oh my God, it's amazing. It's great. And then all of a sudden I'd be like, all right, well, I'll get back to you with numbers. First, I want to see if it's good for you first and get their expectations all high. Keep in mind, everyone, I didn't talk about budget before, because if I talked about budget, that's the dream killer. So I don't want to talk about that. I don't like conflict. I don't want to get involved with that. I just want to show them pretty pictures and build cool stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, show them the pretty picture. They'd love it. I go back and start getting my pencil out. I'm like, I've never built this before. I don't know. This is back when we were building everything in-house. I don't know about that much. I bring my brother in. He was out in the field. Like, how are we going to, all right, good. We got a price. Man, it's going to be gorgeous. Everything they've asked for. So I sit down with them, show them the design, show them the pricing. And I get the look when they look at each other like, oh, what is this? Yeah. This was like, first of all, we never talked about numbers. So I never set any expectations. Okay. I show them the design, which I know they love. And now it's the numbers. But of course, I mean, if people got 10,000 in their account, of course they've got, 125,000 for this project. They have to, right? And how could anybody not want to build this? I love this design. But I never really asked them any questions about what they were going to use it for and how they were going to use it and what they needed it for. It was just about features, right? You wanted a pool deck patio. You wanted blah, 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 right down through the list. And I'm like, I can do all of those things. Anyway, you asked about how many no's I got. I could write a book on that alone. Over and over and over and over, I would get no's, or I would get, even worse, Savannah, the false yes.
About it. Yeah.
Yep. Or the false yes. Yeah, it sounds great. We're going to get back to you. Then I'd follow up. I did everything they told me to do. Follow up and keep going. And the crazy part? They didn't call back. They wouldn't even give me a second swing at it. And I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, I'm giving them everything. You have no idea how excited I am about this. Yeah. But what I didn't understand is the basic psychology around how people buy. I don't know about you, Savannah, but when I started my first business, I never got a book after I got my IRS number and EIN number and all that stuff. I never got a book on how to run business, how to market it, how to sell. Like, I'm still waiting for that. It's been almost 30 years. So these are things you got to do out in the street, brass knuckles, and you got to figure it out, right?
Exactly.
So
fail anyway, and then you learn
over and over. But here's again, back to story. We have to figure out, where do we compartmentalize and how do we use what we've learned in those so-called failures to push us forward. They're part of the journey. Yeah. You can't have growth without failure. And if you're not failing, you're not growing. We have to rewire what failure means. Yeah. Right. So that in the beginning, I didn't understand this. I just would come home, my tail between my legs, be so upset, probably grab a couple of beers and just try to numb myself, because I'm like, another one. Like, oh my goodness. And wife would be like, hey, like, did that project go? No. Or they gave me, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It's like, because I felt like such a failure. I'm like, I'm so excited about this. I come back, my tail between my legs, or worse yet, having false hope something's going to happen, and it didn't. Yeah. And I'm thinking like, man, this really stinks. So anyway, constantly doing that over and over and over and over and over again. You think I would learn? My close rate was At best, probably 25%. That's an industry average, 20 and 30%. I
Mm-hmm.
was at best 20, 25%. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought I was a magically, gifted individual for communication.
Yeah.
Problem is, I talked way too much. I didn't listen very well. I didn't qualify at all.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I knew better than what the client needed, better than they did. I didn't set expectations. I didn't deliver on expectations. I would sell to one customer, not the pair. I would take my time. I would leave them confused. I would be selling on features and logic and not emotion. Like all of these things I was doing wrong, but I had no idea I was doing it wrong.
Yep.
None. Because I didn't have a sales coach back then. It was go out and make money.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off the farm, let's just go be nice to people.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they say, just keep saying yes.
Yeah.
Eventually they'll say, I'll write you a check.
They like me. And it's like, well, that's not quite enough.
Again, the things we learn in the beginning when we're not guided, right?
Yeah.
How else would we just do things that make sense and we want to serve? I believe deep down, people get into this industry because they're either really good at building stuff with their hands, they're just magical at that, and the whole industry is full of people who are great builders, creative people that can build things with their hands.
Yeah.
Where we start to fall off is the communication side.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Setting expectations, delivering on them, understanding that people actually listen and weight your words and how you present. Are you the minimizer guy? Maybe sometimes, kind of, perhaps. Like, is that your tonality? Or is it more direct? Yes, no, tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Everyone's different, but are we aware of how we show up, how we come off to other people, right? So anyway, how many no's? Lots and lots of no's. Until I started getting yeses. And when I started getting yeses, it was because I started to read more. I started to go to seminars. I started to do that inner work we talked about earlier. And I started to become more self-aware. I didn't realize, Savannah, how or not self-aware I was. Now, women, this comes more naturally too. Women are more self-aware. They talk about deeper things. Guys, no, we're islands.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and we can do it ourselves. We're proud of that. We don't need help. And that really dings our ego, right? We don't need help, don't need support. Just we can manage the weight of the world on our shoulders, and those no's don't bother me, but they did.
Right.
Deeply.
Let me chime in really fast. Every highly successful business owner I've ever talked to, and particularly contractors, I bet this translates across industries, tells me there's a turning point in their story, and the thing that changed is they started reading, going to seminars, they hired a business coach, every single one. And I think tying it back to the men are islands point, it's coming to that point of humility. There's a lot that I don't know, and I don't even know what I don't know, but I've got to start figuring it out, and I need help. And like, I don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are lots of people who have walked this journey before me, and I can expedite my progress by learning from their mistakes rather than having to make all those same mistakes that have already been made in the past. So I think, like, just to encourage anybody here that's like, well, I don't have time to read, I don't have time. It's like, well, listen to an audiobook on the way to a site visit. Like, there are things that you can do, even if it's 10 minutes a day, it'll start helping you become more aware, shifting your perspective, your mindset. Oh my gosh, I never thought about it that way. Shoot, I have been doing that. I didn't know this was really a turnoff to homeowners. So I'm so glad you said that, because it's a universal theme that I hear again and again.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the crazy part, listeners, is that our minds are like radio stations. Whatever we give our focus to, we start to become more like. Right. So if you want to listen to country music, you turn the radio station to country music, and that's what you hear. It's the same thing with your mind. If you want to grow your business, grow your ability to communicate, you just have to turn the dial and become more exposed to those things. And they automatically, your mind is like a sponge. It absorbs it consciously and subconsciously. So even if you're reading books, and I struggled, Savannah, reading. I was not a great reader. I got through English class because I used to help the teacher fix shelves. She's like, can you help me fix the shelves? And I was like, absolutely, I'll take care of that for you. And she's like, okay, cool. I'm like, wink, wink. How's that test going to be? And like, this is how we rolled back then, right? But at the same time, I've never been, listen to my story now. I've never been a good reader, right? That's a story I told myself because I had lots of evidence to support it, meaning that every time I opened a book, my mind went in 40 different directions and I couldn't focus. All I saw was words. There was no meaning, all of that kind of stuff. So I had a choice to make. If I wanted to grow, I had to learn how to slow my mind down. Right. So I wanted the grow part. So I had to figure out the tool, which was the learning. Right. And so, okay, I would get audio books.
I've never been a good reader, but I can become one. And I think like in sales, it's the same, maybe I don't feel confident presenting price, but I can become confident. So like having that growth versus fixed mindset of I can
Yep.
become, we're adding up, not yet. I'm not a good reader
Yep.
yet, but I can
That's
become
right.
one. And even really small tangent, I've always wanted to learn how to play piano, and it's on we got a piano. I need to get it tuned. And once we get it tuned, I'm going to start learning. But I have been such a perfectionist and high achiever my whole life that I basically thought for years, if I'm not really good at something immediately, I'm just not good at it. And I'm not talented and I need to go find something else. Because there were some things that I was pretty good at just out the gate. We all have those like talents. And so, the story was, well, I'm not good at piano. I might as well give up. But really, once I read this book called Creativity Inc. about the culture at Pixar and how failure is embraced and it's part of the creative process. It's not something to avoid or be afraid of. Then the story I started telling myself was, I'm not good at piano now, and I'm going to have to suck at it for a very long time before I get good, and that's okay. So it's just like, maybe I suck at sales now, but I'm not going to forever. So I think, having that mindset of like, I can get good at this. It's not just like predetermined that I'm good or bad at something.
You realign your expectations, because originally in your old story, you had to be perfect instantly. Which is not even possible logically. When you think about it, it's not possible. Like, I'm going to go out and sell $250,000 projects, and my biggest project to date was $6,000. Like, that's not reasonable.
Not reasonable.
Then you beat yourself up.
Like going a layer deeper. Why do I feel that I need to? Like, my worth is attached. And then we can get like really deep into all that.
It's a whole other podcast.
Exactly. But really, I think reframing those expectations of everybody is bad at new things in the beginning, and we have to be bad at things for a while to get good, and that is okay. That is not a statement about I am a failure or anything like that. It's just I'm doing a new thing, so it's unfamiliar and it's going to take a lot of practice.
First time you play baseball, first time you fly a kite, first time you do anything, you're going to suck at it. The question is, can you manage through the suck until you get good at it? And if there's a big enough why, the how becomes easy. Right. So as long as you have a big why, you're like, look, I want to provide for my family. I want to serve people. I want to have a purpose and a mission. Like all of a sudden, that's so much bigger. Now, going back to what you talked about earlier about there's 3 levels or 4 levels of mastery when it comes down to it. The first one is incompetent and unconscious. Right. So, listeners out there, if you start a business, you're unconscious. You don't know what's going on. You're just trying stuff, and you're probably incompetent, which means you don't have a lot of experience doing it.
But you don't. You think you're decent at it, but you actually are not.
But see, because you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
So you're safe in an environment of not knowing. But here's what happens if you keep digging further and growing more: is you become conscious about what you you don't know. Then you're like, oh man, are you serious? Like, I got to learn all of that to get to the top. And then that's where most fail. Most will back off and they'll be like, look, it's just too big of a hill to climb. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And then you get into where you become consciously competent, which is like, okay, I kind of know what I don't know, but I'm okay with it. I'm learning.
Yeah.
And our ultimate goal is to become unconsciously competent. When, like you talked about piano, when you see a professional where they're shutting their eyes and they're just playing away, it's in their bones. But the difference between step 1 or level 1 and level 4 is time, no's, failures, yeses, punches in the mouth, and healing, and like all of that stuff. The question is, are you willing to fight?
Time and dedicated practice, because you could for years and years and years, if you had kept doing what you were doing, you would have had time, but you didn't change anything, and so you're not going to get good. So it's time, I think, plus, I don't know how you would summarize that, but
time and discipline is really what it is. At the end of the day, that's the secret sauce there, is time and discipline.